Hey there, fellow travelers, Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're here at Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland, one of the most coolest geological features you can see anywhere in the world. And yes, you don't want to miss Giant's Causeway when you come here to Northern Ireland. And today what we have for you are the don'ts of visiting Northern Ireland. I gotta tell you, don't worry about having a crack when you're here. A crack means a good time because the locals are fantastic. They have so much spirit, so much fun, and give you so much ribbing and joking that you're gonna love it when you're here. So don't be surprised if you meet some locals that want to make sure you have a good time in Northern Ireland. And they'll give you the history, they'll give you the fun, and yes, they might teach you a few words you've never heard before when you are here. Some good, some bad, but I think one of the important things with the people, though, is if you do go out with them and they do buy you a drink, because it has known to happen, don't forget to get your round as well on the next go around. So they get a pint for you or they get a whiskey with you, then you need to get the next round with them, okay? So that's one great way to get to know Northern Ireland better, is just meeting the fantastic people here. Though I will say is, don't expect to understand the accent the first or second or third time someone says something to you, because the accent can be a bit much if you're not used to it. Now, if you've been here for a while, you'll start to catch on, but just have a heads up. Now, for my Irish American friends, I know you're coming to Ireland, you're coming to Northern Ireland, and you're like, I want to get back to my people, I want everyone to know that I'm Irish. Well, my don't for that is, don't tell people you're Irish, okay? It doesn't matter that your great-great-great grumpity grump came from Ireland. They don't really care here in Northern Ireland, okay? So just leave it to yourself, just have a good time. You don't have to bring it up. You can enjoy the drink and you can enjoy the food without bringing that little thing up. Now, actually, a couple serious don'ts I will say when you do come to Northern Ireland is, one, don't talk about politics and don't bring up religion, because that can bring up the Troubles, which is the time here in Northern Ireland during the 60s, 70s, early 80s, where you had a lot of violence going on. And that's really still a touchy subject to a lot of people in Northern Ireland. So it's really best to kind of lay off that topic unless they bring it up, because don't worry, people will ask you, do you prefer, Northern Ireland or the Republic of Ireland? Or they'll say, do you prefer Ulster or the South? Because people will ask you that, and you might want to be diplomatic with which one you like and maybe figure out where people are from first to make that one smooth over. But honestly, you don't want to be willy-nilly when you're looking at what people call the country, because some people call it Ulster, some people call it the North of Ireland, some people say it's the 6 counties, and some people just say Northern Ireland. My thing for you is just call it Northern Ireland. That's kind of like the most politically correct, where you're not going to offend people with that one, whereas some people are like, no, it's Ulster, and other people are like, oh, it's just a part of the Republic of Ireland eventually. So just have a heads up for that one. And to go along with that, if you're going to be coming from Scotland or England, maybe don't wear your British or English themed t-shirts you buy on your travels. I know I have my British Wolters World Shield t-shirt. I made sure not to wear that because it's one of those things you just don't really do when you are up here. So try to avoid the overly British, overly English clothing. Just letting you know. Now let's get back to some fun tourist stuff. Another don't I have for you is, don't be scared to rent a car. Look, Northern Ireland is small. It's like 110 miles by 90 miles wide. You can go everywhere. I mean, you could use Belfast as a base and explore the whole country doing that. Now, I recommend going and staying in some of the small villages around here. Heck, go to Bushmills, which is really right by Giant's Causeway. You can go see some castles. You can go on the rope bridge that I will never go on because I'm scared to death of it. But you can go to the old Bushmills distillery and stay in the village there and enjoy some of the small B&Bs and hotels you can stay at around the country, because honestly, it's such a wonderful place and it's so easy to get around, and having your car lets you go to castle after castle after castle after beautiful, Giant's Causeway, but also it lets you drive the Causeway Coastal Road, which is just a gorgeous drive along the east coast of Northern Ireland. I mean, and anywhere you go around here, the landscapes are incredible. But to go out and see all those castles and all that nature, you do need to rent a car, okay? But don't forget, they drive on the left here, so you need to be ready for that. Also, don't think they use euros here in Northern Ireland. Since it's part of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, I mean, it's in the name, they use the British pound when you are here, pound sterling. You will see a couple Bank of Ireland notes in there as well, but that's what you're gonna use to pay for things here. And when you're driving around, I think you need to know is, don't think those speeds are super slow, because here, distances are measured in miles. So it's miles to where you're gonna go. That M after when it's saying how far it has to go, that's not meters, that's miles, okay? So if you're trying to adjust, your kilometers that's on your rental car to miles, you might wanna have a little note like, what is 115 kph to miles per hour? What is, 35 or 30 to kilometers per hour? Just so you have a rough idea, because they do have the cameras up and they will ticket you. And don't worry, they will find you no matter where you are. One thing I will say from my experience here at Giant's Causeway, if you're going to be walking on the beaches, and on the stones and stuff, don't forget to bring a good pair of shoes when you do come here to Northern Ireland. Because of the hiking you will do, you need sturdy footwear, but also don't get nailed by the waves when you're on Giant's Causeway. Happened to me when I was here a few years ago, and it can be a little dangerous, so do have a heads up if you're actually going to go to the sea or be on the seaside. Now, I know for some travelers, you don't want to drive in Northern Ireland because it's on the other side of the road and I get worried. Well, here's a great thing for you. Don't worry about not driving when you come to Northern Ireland. There's buses and trains that will take you all over the place, so you can really get a lot of Northern Ireland just using public transportation. And you don't have to worry about which side of the road should I be driving on. It doesn't matter. They take care of it for you. Now, I've got to say, if you're going to be visiting some of the distilleries, like you got Old Bushmills Distillery you can go to, which is right by here. If you're going to have a tipple or two, don't feel bad if you hire a tour, because what's cool about Northern Ireland, since it's so small, a lot of companies set up tours for you. So you could do a whiskey trail tour, you could do a tour of the Troubles, you could do a natural tour like coming here to Giant's Causeways. There is the Game of Thrones tours because they film stuff here. So it's one of those countries that you can do tours. So don't feel bad doing a tour instead of driving on your own, because there are literally dozens of options to help you out. Honestly, if you're going to be in Belfast, I recommend taking the Black Cab tours to learn about the Troubles and see all the murals there. That is fantastic. And I think another done I want to tell you about is when you're going around the country and you see the murals painted on the wall. Don't be disrespectful at the murals. Whether you're at Derry or Londonderry or you're in Belfast, you'll see these big murals on the side of buildings and the side of walls, and they're pretty powerful. And it's one of those things that it represents a lot of things and a lot of different things for a lot of different people, but it's one of those things you want to be respectful for, okay? So don't be those silly TikTokers, those stupid TikTokers that are like doing dances in front of serious murals, because it's not going to be taken very well, okay? So be respectful when you're there. Now, kind of continuing on with that is, if you're going to be here in June and July, I will say this is, don't get involved with the marches during marching season, just because you might not understand what's going on and it might not be taken well by the locals. And for some tourists, they feel kind of uncomfortable. I know I was in Derry, Londonderry, a few years ago, and there were marches going on while I was there, and there were personnel carriers and soldiers all over, and we were walking on the city walls. By the way, Londonderry, Derry, well worth going to, okay? Very cool city. But I was there, and all the people there, and they had this big, huge, like fake version of a politician, and one of the guys said, oh yeah, they're gonna burn that later. I'm like, what, really? It can be a bit much. So if you're gonna be coming in June and July, make sure you're looking and see what marches are going on and when. So maybe you'll come visit some of the natural beauties on those days and go into the city some of the other days. I know July 13th is a very big day for it, so just to have a heads up, because you might not realize it. The one I went to, I think, was in November or October, and I had no idea. So something to think about. And you'll notice I'm feeling kind of uncomfortable talking about this. And as a tourist, don't worry if you feel uncomfortable talking about the Troubles, knowing whether you should call it Londonderry or Derry, or do I call it Ulster or Northern Ireland or North of Ireland. That is normal as a tourist if you're not sure what to do. So that's why you'll see a lot of people will just say Northern Ireland, or they'll avoid the subject altogether because they're uncomfortable with it. If you meet locals, let them bring it up. Or if you're a tourist and you don't know, you could ask, but just know people were affected by this on both sides. And so it is a very touchy subject. So just have a heads up for it, okay? And the thing is when I grew up, when you talked about Northern Ireland, you thought of bombings and murders and assassinations and all kinds of horrible things. And I got to tell you, you don't have to worry about that now. You don't have to worry about your safety when you come to Northern Ireland as a tourist. I mean, it's voted like the safest place to go in the UK, with the friendliest people in the UK. I mean, Belfast is one of the safest big cities in the UK. I think it was voted like the second safest city in the UK. I mean, you'll be fine as a tourist here. Like, we were going out all over the place, didn't feel worried at all as a tourist, so that's awesome. I mean, obviously, don't do your, have your usual tourist sense. Don't leave money out in your car and don't flash your money around. That doesn't go over well anywhere. But in general, you don't have to worry about your safety when you're here in Northern Ireland, and that's what makes it such a relaxing vacation. Now I have a sad don't for my fellow travelers. I know a lot of us like to collect our passport stamps when we come to new countries, and I gotta tell you, don't expect to get a stamp in your passport if you come into Northern Ireland from Ireland, because there really isn't any border crossing. There isn't any place where they check your passports. You just kind of drive in and all of a sudden there's a little sign that says, "Welcome to Northern Ireland," and that's all, okay? So sadly, don't expect to get that stamp. Now, on to a happier don't when you come here is don't worry about getting fed and watered here when you come to Northern Ireland. There are so many great pubs you can go out and have a drink or have a good eats, and there's tons of great restaurants throughout the country. You're gonna eat well. There's so many fantastic things you can have. Yes, Irish stew is out there, and also you have basically the best thing for me when I come to Northern Ireland is the seafood, whether you're getting the mussels or the oysters or the salmon. Oh my God, you can't go wrong with anything from the sea when you're here in Northern Ireland, so you will eat well. And yes, the potato will show up quite often. Probably my favorite place it shows up is an Ulster fry. That's the breakfast you have here that has your sausage, your bacon, your egg, your tomato, your beans, and then your white and black pudding. Very nice. And then you get a soda bread, and then you get some potato bread, and that potato bread or potato flour, it's so nice. It's like a super thin, not like a hash brown, but somewhere between a hash brown and a bread. Oh, it's so good. But you have a lot of potatoes, you'll have a lot of fish, and you'll be a lot of full when you are here. And then, of course, we probably should say the don't of the weather. Look, don't think it rains all the time here in Northern Ireland. It doesn't. We've been here for a few days, and it was actually sunny for 2 of the days, and now we have some clouds, but notice, it's not raining. It doesn't rain all the time when you're here. But don't forget to bring your rain gear when you do come, because since we are on the sea, a storm can come out of nowhere, rain for a little bit, and be gone. I mean, to get these beautiful nature and all this green here in Northern Ireland, you gotta have some rain. So don't forget to bring the layers, because you will use them when you're here, all right? So I hope this helps you know better what you don't, or I guess you actually do when you come here to Northern Ireland. If you want to learn more, we've got a don'ts on what to do in Belfast. On Jocelyn's channel, we have an eats of Northern Ireland. And if you want more like what I need to know before I go Northern Ireland, we have a video that focuses on that as well. So have a great time, and I'll say bye from here at Giant's Causeway.